When my mother passed away last year, it shattered me. She wasn't just a parent. She was my anchor, the person I leaned on for strength and direction throughout my life. Her absence left a silence, so loud it rang in every corner of my world. After the funeral, as I was still deep in grief, the lawyer handling her estate reached out with unexpected news. She had left me a sizable inheritance. I was stunned. My mother had never been one to flaunt wealth. She lived modestly, dressed simply, and never hinted at having saved so much. I had no idea she had quietly set aside such a significant sum. My wife, Sarah, had always had a strained relationship with my mother. They were cordial at best, cool and dismissive at worst. But the moment she found out about the inheritance, her entire demeanor shifted. She started asking questions, not just casual curiosity, but probing, specific ones. At first, I tried to convince myself she was just trying to support me, that maybe grief had opened a door to empathy. But then came the inquiries about the will, the trust details, exact amounts, and the terms. When I mentioned that my mother had left $85,000 in a trust for me, Sarah's eyes flickered with something sharp, greed maybe, and I could practically see the gears turn behind them. Everything changed after that conversation. Sarah began talking about home renovations, luxury vacations, and even quitting her job, a job she had always been fiercely dedicated to, so she could focus on the house. It was such a sudden change in priorities, so out of character, that a knot of unease formed in my gut. Something wasn't right. About a week later, I got confirmation. Late one night, I was lying in bed pretending to be asleep when I heard her in the next room, whispering on the phone to her sister. What she said cut deeper than any betrayal I'd ever imagined. As soon as the money clears, I'm out. He doesn't even know what's coming. The word sent a chill through me, like ice spreading through my bloodstream. I didn't confront her, not immediately. Instead, I contacted my mother's attorney and told him everything. He wasn't surprised. In fact, he chuckled almost proudly. "Your mom was sharp," he said. "She saw this coming." Turns out, the trust wasn't as straightforward as Sarah had assumed. My mother had set specific conditions. The money was indeed meant for me, but only if I stayed married for at least one more year after her passing. If a divorce occurred before that time, the entire amount would be donated to a children's charity she had long supported. On top of that, Sarah wouldn't be entitled to a single cent in the divorce due to a prenuptial agreement my mother had insisted we sign before our wedding. Something I hadn't thought much about at the time, but now saw as quietly brilliant. Knowing this, I decided not to show my hand. I acted like everything was fine. I played the role of the attentive husband, affectionate, thoughtful, even romantic. I booked us a short getaway, brought home flowers, made her favorite meals. Sarah, believing I was still oblivious, let her guard down and began treating me with increasing coldness and disregard. She was always on her phone, texting someone constantly, hiding the screen when I entered the room, and coming home later and later without explanation. A month passed before she finally made her move. One evening, she handed me the divorce papers with a rehearsed smile and a soft voice, saying, "I think we both know this isn't working." I signed them without hesitation. She looked triumphant, convinced she had just secured a financial windfall, but her expression crumbled during the hearing, when my lawyer calmly laid out the terms of the trust. Her mouth fell open in disbelief. "Wait, what do you mean there's no money?" she stammered. "That's his inheritance." The judge clarified that the money was never legally mine, not yet, and since she had filed for divorce within a restricted time frame, the funds were automatically rerouted to the designated charity. She wouldn't see a single dollar. My lawyer didn't bother hiding his satisfaction. Sarah's face turned pale, then desperate. She tried to backpedal, said she'd been confused, pressured, that maybe we could try counseling. I looked her in the eyes and said simply, "You already made your decision. Now you have to live with it." The divorce was finalized quickly. Within a week, she moved out. I never heard from her again. A few weeks later, I received a letter from the children's charity. They thanked me for the generous contribution. I smiled quietly. My mother was gone, but her foresight was still protecting me. She had seen the storm coming long before I did, and she'd built a shelter I didn't even know I needed. Then, several months later, just as life began to settle into something resembling peace, I received another call from a lawyer. "There's more," he said. My mother had established a second trust, a larger one, this time with a different condition. This fund wasn't about time or marriage, but about character. Because I hadn't tried to fight the terms of the first trust or attempt to manipulate anything for my gain, I have fulfilled her final measure of faith in me. I was now the beneficiary of an additional $500,000,000, completely unrestricted. No strings, no conditions. She had seen Sarah for who she truly was. And she had seen me, too, not just as her son, but as a man she believed in. That money didn't change everything, but her belief in me did. Since then, I've left the city behind. I moved to a quieter town where the air feels lighter and the days move slower. I started a small business, something I'd always dreamed of but never dared to do. I rebuilt my life, not on money, but on the quiet, steady strength my mother left behind. I still think of her every day, not because of the inheritance, but because of her love, her wisdom, and the way she made sure I'd be standing, even when the ground gave way beneath me.